All right, gentlemen. First of all, how are you doing right now? Like, what I just want to know. So we're driving through the South Dakota countryside right now. We're about an hour and a half east of the Badlands, which is where we're heading for the night. Man, what's going through your head right now? Like, just how do you feel right now at this point in the trip?
Very, very excited to go back there. As you know, every day it's like unfolding like layers of an onion every day. Just the realization of like I'm gonna live in California. I just have these moments every day where I'm like, what is happening? And oh my gosh, I'm just so excited. I can't believe it, after 27 years of living in the same area, and nothing wrong with the area, it's just, I know I'm supposed to go out and do more, and it's just amazing. And I never know what to say, I'm just so excited.
That's awesome.
After 27 years of, the same kind of what you're used to. Obviously my life changed completely right where I was. Otherwise I wouldn't even be doing this.
Yeah.
The Lord changed my life completely right where I was. But I just mean like the familiarity of where you're at and just like kind of the daily habits of life, doing the same thing for 27 years, it just doesn't really hit you when you're like, I've been in process of moving this entire year. This whole year has led up to this move, and it just doesn't feel real. Like, it's just so different. It's like just thinking like in my head, like, wow, I'm actually going to live on the West Coast by the ocean and by redwood forest, and just picturing like what normal everyday life will be like there. It's just like, feels like a dream, and it is. It's a dream come true, so I'm just so excited.
So what is this is something that I'm sure will be not only good for you to look back on, later on in life, but just for other people, and maybe even for me a little bit as well. Can you kind of expound a little bit on why exactly you want to do this? Why, what was the reasoning behind you making this move? And so why is it exactly that you want to be out in California?
Well, I don't really know how else to say it, but the Lord told me to. And I know people that don't understand faith in Christ and hearing His voice, they think that I'm crazy when I say that, but that is the absolute main reason why. I had other plans and other things I want to do in life that I'm not going to go into detail now, because it's just not relevant to what I'm currently in motion at. But that's the first and foremost reason, is He spoke it the first time this year, back in February. And I know in the past I kind of expressed the possibility of just going to do something, like moving out to Chicago or moving to California, or going and traveling and being a part of something, going to YWAM somewhere in New Zealand or Hawaii or wherever. So I know I've expressed that possibility before, but this was something the Lord spoke to me to do, and I just said yes, and began to literally put my money where my faith is and my mouth is. And when I started making more money, I started being more careful with money. I started living on less when I started making more, on purpose, and I was able to save several $1,000s this year to be able to do this. So that kind of gives you the basic backstory of the initial why of why I'm gonna go. But as far as like what I'm gonna do there, there's definitely still more to be revealed when I'm out there. But for me, like the simplest way I tell people of what I see it as and what I'm going to be doing is just a time of life that is new and different, and that gets me out in the world and out in my normal everyday living, like I mentioned earlier, and a season of life of rest and adventure and growing in the Lord, where the tallest trees in the world grow. You know, learning how to humble myself and go low and become, you know, like a redwood basically. And that's kind of like that's like the prophetic picture of what it is. Is going there to live low and so that I can really grow high into the way He wants me to live. And so a season of rest and adventure and growing in the Lord, being close to Reading, to stretch and grow spiritually in ways through being connected to people at Bethel, for sure, and spending free time writing my books. I'm writing 2 books. I've only told a handful of people about it, but I'm writing 2 books. One nonfiction that's biblical teaching, and another one that is fiction based on my life and what I'm called to do. And so I want to write, and I've been getting into production, filmmaking, and script writing, taking classes, and so I want to spend my free time on some of that stuff too, and such an inspiring place to do it. So those are some basic, like, personal things that I see everyday life kind of being like, but like the main overall, and why this is high and low, and a high and low adventure and high and low launching into like full-time life, is that I believe this is going to be the time of preparing and getting more of the plans and details of how High and Low is going to step into the next big thing and going full-time and getting established in the future for it to be a full ministry that's not just, you know, trips every couple of months, but my life actually lived out. And so this is a big step in that, I believe. So it's kind of the overview of the reasons.
Gotcha.
Plus, like I said, plus probably many more that I don't know yet that the Lord will reveal.
Yeah.
So, and while we're out there, I forgot to mention being close to, within range of San Francisco, Sacramento, and Los Angeles. Obviously still a long trip, but it's not that bad. It's still a day trip compared to, you know, Indiana, which takes over 3 days just to drive there if you didn't even sleep.
Or like a plane ticket.
Yeah.
Trip out there, yeah.
And so being there to be able to do, you know, high and low ministry and little mini trips while we're out there on this one big adventure, that's going to be a long period. It's a huge trip, a long trip moving out there basically. It's just a giant trip until the next thing. And so while out there, being able to go to Hollywood and to San Francisco and to Sacramento and the different places, so as the Lord enables to do high and low ministry in those places while we're out there. So we'll have time of growth and development and preparing, and then time of going out and doing high and low, just like I already have been. But instead of being close to like Indy, within range of Chicago and Louisville, those being kind of the main cities that we've been able to target, other than Nashville, Tennessee, and Hollywood, the time we went out to Hollywood and San Francisco. So instead of those being kind of the target areas I'm able to go to, that'll switch to being able to be like Hollywood and San Francisco and those bigger cities. So yeah, that's an overview of why I'm moving out there. What are you feeling right now at this point? So right now we're about an hour from the Badlands, about an hour east of the Badlands, driving through this beautiful, beautiful countryside. And so how are you feeling right now at this point on the trip, Jake? How's it going?
It's very surreal. It's just, well, because I was out here about 3 or 4 months ago on a trip around the United States on my motorcycle, and it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I just, I was doing a video, like I think I told you, I was doing a video earlier today, and I was just kind of saying, like I feel like I'm home right now, you know, like I feel like as soon as we got past Sioux Falls, especially once we got past the Missouri River and we started seeing all this crazy landscape, you know, around us, I'm just like,
once we were like in the west, you could see it.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking that once we crossed the Mississippi that was the west, or that then I'd feel, you know, but no, it's once we crossed the Missouri, got into the, you know, the western half of South Dakota. Now, yeah, we're definitely in the west now, and it's just so I guess you could probably just say I'm feeling nostalgic because of what I saw, you know, even just a few months ago. But I'm also feeling this insane sense of adventure because it's like we're pretty far away from home right now, you know.
Yeah.
We're about halfway.
Yeah,
almost halfway to California, and like we you know, the point of no return was like 500 miles that way. So there is no going back. You know, we're definitely going out there no matter what happens. And yeah, man, I think, in other words, I can't really put into words how I feel. It is just such a beautiful mixture of bittersweet emotions. You know, I know I won't be out there nearly as long as you, but yeah, I just feel very. I can't quite put the emotions into words right now, but very bittersweet for sure.
Right on. So to ask you kind of the same question you asked me,
yeah.
How did you moving to California and going on this long adventure, how did this come about on your end, from your perspective?
Honestly, it came about out of a place of pain. If I'm completely honest, it came about shortly after my relationship with my ex-fiance ended, and I was just kind of thinking to myself, I just want to get the hell out of Indiana. I don't want to be in Indiana anymore. And I kind of, you know, and like I definitely did get a word from the Lord that, you know, this would be a good trip to go on, that this would be that this was going to be a really good thing. But I was thinking about it in the wrong way. I was thinking, oh, you know, good, this is my scapegoat, or this is my escape. And as time drew closer to the time that we were supposed to move, it became more and more apparent to me that I'm needed in Brown County. I mean, like, you know, it became very obvious that I am needed in Brown County. So
yeah.
And so I thought to myself, I was like, maybe I heard from the Lord wrong. But it was when I understood the self-deception that was taking place, and that's when I was able to understand, oh, that's right. This was kind of, this idea for me to go out to California was based out of a place of pain, but now the Lord is using it for good. And, you know, now He's using it for me to be able to support you, you know, going out to California, you know, to be able to get you out there, get you settled in, you know, or at least help in doing that. You know, and it's like, and then for me personally, it's actually serving as a very, like, this is my spiritual boot camp. This is like where the rubber meets the road. I have no more excuses. It's just me and the Lord. It's just me and Him. And the only other thing that was connecting me to home, there's someone that you know, I've developed feelings for back home, and she feels the same way. And so we've been talking pretty much nonstop for the last month and a half or so. And we decided a couple of days ago that we were just going to go ahead and, you know, not completely, I mean, well, yeah, completely cut off contact, just not forever. But that was a very hard pill to swallow, especially doing this trip, which is I'm going to super unfamiliar places, you know, doing something I've never done before. and I was still holding on to that little piece of something, like I was holding on to something that was kind of keeping me from having complete and total faith. You know what I mean? And so now that we've kind of separated that, it's like I feel like this has been the Lord's plan for this trip for me from the beginning, which is to completely rely on Him no matter what, and to completely trust Him, because I don't have anything. There's nothing else. I mean, why else would I be doing this? You know, I mean, obviously I love you and I want to help you out, but I mean, no offense. I mean, when it comes to, moving someone 3,500 miles away, that's a pretty tall order, and it's something that I'm happy to be able to do, but it's like, I'm doing this because this is kingdom. This is a kingdom mindset, to go where no one else has gone before, to do things that no one else has done before. That's what we're all about. That's what we do here. So it's just like to be able to be a part of that, to be able to spearhead something so powerful, so spiritually, incredible. I mean, this is kingdom culture. This is kingdom living. This is what it looks like. It's not sitting in the four walls of the church, once every week. And that's not to bash people. That if that's what you do, that's what you do. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just saying, if you are serious about kingdom living, this is what it looks like. It is packing up everything you own and just going. Poriomai. And so, I'm sorry, I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but yeah, I mean, that's to answer your question on a basic level. This is my basic spiritual training, my spiritual basic training. This is boot camp, my spiritual boot camp, which is just kind of crazy. I was explaining to you back home how profound that is, because I've grown so much just in the last 6 months that if this is me going through my boot camp, that's your basic training. That's like entry-level training. So the fact that I've grown this much, and the Lord's like, okay, now you're ready for basic training. It's like, wow. Something crazy's about to happen, Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
God,
we got to turn the camera for that one.
Look at that.
Wow. Woo. This is awesome.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah. So one more question that kind of ties in with what you were already talking about.
Sure.
Just to add on to it a little bit, what about for you, like your own personal ministries and goals and things that you're in boot camp for? What do you see this time in California being for you personally? Not just to help me and be there for me to support me, but for you, what do you see this time being?
I might, honestly, man, I'm just warning you, I might cry. Because, and I'm serious, so the Lord has given me a word. He's commissioned me. I am one of His captains, and He wants me to be an example. He wants me to be an example of a kingdom man, a man living out in his life in the kingdom. And so this trip, it's just going to be about encountering Him. I'm not, to be honest, like the more I tried to kind of get into the mode of evangelism on this trip, the less inclined I felt to do it. And that's not to say that I'm not going to evangelize. That's a part of our Christian DNA. If you're a Christian and you're not evangelizing, I'm not going to say you're not a Christian, but that's kind of that's literally what we're supposed to do. Anyway, so
that's why we're on the earth.
That's why we're here. That's why we didn't get beamed up to heaven like Scotty from Star Trek. But as soon as we got saved, oh, yep, you're good to go. No, we're here for people. That's why we're freaking here. So anyway, that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, it's just He's commissioned me. Like this is, like I said, this is literally my spiritual boot camp, in the sense of I need to look, not just look the part. I need to look, act, and be who it is that God has called me to be in His identity through a romantic relationship with Him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, of course, you know what I mean. Other people might not. And so what I mean by that is just, you know, like I said, I've undergone some insane spiritual pressing and prodding over the last 6 months. But I was talking this for lady friend of mine that I was telling you about. Excuse me. She brought something up to me. I think I talked to you about this, but for the sake of you know, whoever might be watching this, I definitely want to reiterate. She pointed out something to me that I probably would not have received if it wasn't at that exact time from that exact person. And that was my mask, my self-deception. And it was just like, as much as I've grown spiritually, I'm still deceiving myself. Like that, because I knew it was true, because as soon as I heard it, I felt this little twinge in my spirit, like, oh, what are you talking about? You know, how dare you? It's like, as soon as I feel that, it's like, okay, there you are, you little bugger. And so anyway, that's just to say that got my attention. That is what kind of got me thinking, I have not arrived. I am not even freaking close to beginning yet. And so all that to say, it's no wonder this is the start of my spiritual boot camp, you know, because it's like I still have things like self-deception. You know, sometimes and Jonah, you saw this, sometimes I end up binging on food because I'm stressed out. Or, you know, and like, it's funny to laugh about it, you know, but it's like, but on a serious level, it's a deterrent.
It's true.
And so all of these things, and like the Lord has been telling me, these things are going to be eradicated. They're going to be eradicated. They don't belong in the kingdom. Any kind of dependency on anything other than Jesus Christ of Nazareth is obsolete. The world is obsolete. The only one true sustaining, like that will actually continue to provide, is Jesus Christ. That is the only thing.
Amen.
So to quickly wrap up and answer your question, I know this is a lot. The Lord has called me to reach men, particularly perpetrators. You know, what most people would describe as the scum of society. They say horrible things. Even Christians say horrible things about these people. You know, here's the thing, man. As far as I'm concerned, if you're still drawing breath, you're a son or daughter of God. If you're still drawing breath, if you're still living on this planet, you are a son or a daughter of God, of the one true King. And it is not too late.
Amen.
And so these people, being able to help these people and be able to provide a portal from the Spirit to these people, if they can change, like, I mean, we're talking, you know, people, you know, that are in the higher ups in the pornography industry. You know, we're talking child molesters. We're talking, you know, human trafficking. You know, all these people. If we can affect those people, can you imagine the circle of influence in the underworld that we could create?
If you could reach and affect the source of problems,
yes,
instead of just trying to deal with the symptoms and the problems themselves.
Yes,
that's really awesome.
Us Christians, we have a Band-Aid mentality, you know, and so you and me, with high and low and with east to west, that's what the ministry is called. It's called East to West Ministries. You know, it's like, it's getting to the heart of the issue. We need to get to the heart of the issue instead of constantly addressing symptoms and not only wearing ourselves out, but making it seem like, oh man, you know, God's not working, God's not, you know, doing what we thought He was going to do. Yeah, well, no wonder. It's because you're not moving forward. It's like, you know, we grow. We're supposed to grow into our calling. We're not just supposed to do this one thing and think, okay, God, why didn't you know, why didn't you show up, or why did it happen again? It's because you're attacking a symptom. You're attacking and you're trying to fix a symptom when it's like, so like if you have cancer, one of the like if you have lung cancer, one of the symptoms of lung cancer is like coughing a lot, you know, obviously, because it's like, so if you're constantly taking cough medicine, is that going to cure your cancer? No. So why do we think that way in the spirit? The spirit realm is simply a mirror for the physical. So it's like, I need to
wrap things up a little bit.
I don't know where all this is coming from. I'm just all right, we can edit all that up until right here. This is me answering the question. So the reason why, to wrap it all up in a nice little bow, for me taking this trip personally is because I have a ministry that I'm called to, with men in particular, and that's not to say that it won't be, that women won't be affected by it either, but it's chiefly just, the Lord has called me to help men realize that being masculine is a good thing. And the Lord during this trip is gonna help make me look at and be the part. He's gonna make me a better, bigger, stronger man of God during this trip.
Awesome.
And then after I have that, and it's just personal. This trip is very personal to me, very personal. And like I said, obviously evangelism will happen naturally because I'm a believer, but that's not the goal for me. The goal here is to get planted, and to just grow in the light of His glory, having Holy Spirit watering and feeding me to get me to that level that I need to be, in order to serve the men that I'm called to serve. So,
amen.
Yeah.
We are on our way to our next destination, the Badlands.
Go.
So, pretty sure this is the spot on National Treasure 2 where they're on the Black Hills rocks here. They're pouring water and cloudless rain is what they call it. So it has to be sunny and water. And they're pouring water all over the rocks trying to find the place, and they pour it right here, and it appears an eagle. And then that's the place where Nicolas Cage has to put his hand in and hit the lever that reveals the city of gold that's beneath here. So, and he said that the clue was surrender your hand to the heart of the warrior. And he goes, and his mom's like, it could be a trap. And then he puts his hand in and goes, ah! I couldn't resist, and then pulls the lever. But anyway, I'm pretty sure this is it, but we'll know for sure when I look up the video on YouTube. So,
all right.